One question that comes to my mind is, how do you set boundaries, say, with your partners when you're yourself going through this journey? How do you get your partner or your other family members on board on this journey?
So there are two parts to this, and I'm not going to generalize and say, let them know, communicate. For some families, maybe communication is a real challenge, and it's an issue, and it doesn't happen. So for the places where where you think that there is a possibility that you can communicate, it's always good to communicate. For example, even things like, should I be putting salt in my child's food now that he started eating solids, let's say 6 months on? Many parents, like I, did not believe in putting salt. And, there could be other family members in the household who are like, are you feeding bland food to the kid? What are you doing? Right? So this judgment, it just comes very, very naturally. And again, not to blame anybody. Everybody sees world and life through the lens of their own experiences. So if they have gone through something and they have seen that, it works, it becomes their truth. Okay, there is no universal truth like that, right? It is their truth, it is their version of truth. So it's not to say that feeding this or that makes this difference or this thing. If you go into the scientific research, you will find one kind of research one day and then an absolutely contradictory research the next week. So I'm not getting into those because that's not my area of focus. My area of focus is, how do you maintain your sanity amongst all of this chaos? So what you really need to do is to, one, communicate that this is the kind of parenting that I am following. Okay, I do not believe in giving screens to my child, and I will not give it, and I will really request everybody in the family to respect this and not do it. So unless you verbalize it, unless you really say it, unless you make it a point to show that this is not something that is aligning with your parenting philosophy, nobody is going to sit in your head and know what you're thinking. So the more that you communicate and the more that you build the skills of communicating well, and we are all doing that, right? A big part of my coursework is communication skills, and honestly a big part of my own self journey is about building my communication skills, because I feel that is one area that I really need to work on. It's not a very strong area in terms of being able to put forth my needs or my thoughts very lucidly and very calmly. Both things are important. You need to be lucid and you need to be calm. You can't have your emotions overtake your words, because then only the emotions are speaking and the words really somewhere get lost. So a big part of the work that I do is also working on those those techniques for building effective communication, and those techniques are useful for spouses, for children, for parents, whatever. It's just communication in general. So it comes with practice. So that's a good word that you use there, that practice is what does the trick, right? And here I believe slightly differently. So we've all grown up listening to this phrase, right? Practice makes perfect. I tend to disagree with this a lot, because I have a peeve with the word perfect. Okay, and I say that there is nothing like perfection. What practice does is, practice makes permanent. Okay, the more that you practice, the more you are likely to make that habit or that response a more permanent part of you. So perfection is nothing, because the excellence of something depends on the situation, right? What might be perfect in one person's situation may not be applicable to somebody else. So I don't want to idolize a perfect behavior, a perfect parent, a perfect parenting. There is nothing like that. You have to see your situation, you have to analyze what keeps your sanity, and practice makes permanent. Whatever you practice day in and day out, whatever you remind yourself of, even if you tell yourself that I'm going to be a conscious parent, I'm going to be a simplified parent, I'm not going to complicate things, I'm going to be an aware parent. Just these words have a lot of power. Okay, so use them to your advantage, say them again and again to yourself, so that you gravitate towards that kind of behavior.
again, no perfect mom. There are all different types of parenting, and everything is okay as long as you're sane, you're self-aware, and keep making that practice towards your permanency. Very well said.
Absolutely. But having said that, I will just give a little bit of caveat there. While I agree that there's no perfect parent and there's no point of judgment because everybody's starting point is different, everybody's environment is different, their resources are different. One thing which I have to say is, now that we've established that there's no perfect parent, doesn't mean that everything I'm doing is justified or everything that I'm doing is okay because sab kuch chalta hai. That's not the kind of thing that I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is keep educating yourself, because things are changing around us, right? Like, the environment that our children are growing in is not the same as it was 20-30 years ago. Every 6 months technology is taking a quantum leap. Every 6 months there are bigger things that we can access, and there is a lot more disposable income that we have than before, than even us. Even in your journey, you would see that what you were 2-3 years ago, you have taken a major leap from there in terms of access to things, in terms of apps that you have on your phone, so many different things. So just saying that everything goes, and because nobody is perfect, then I can do what I want and it won't have an impact on my child, that's not the attitude you should have, which is where conscious parenting is really the bedrock of solid parenting. It's a bedrock of really taking up responsibility of this role that you have decided to take up. Having a child was not just the decision to have a little toy that you can play with, a little mini me that you could dress up like you. Those were not the real reasons. Like, you really decided to bring a life into this world, in this planet, then might as well do as best as you can in terms of service to them.
Like you said, thank you so much, Ritika. These were very helpful tips, and I hope everyone who was listening in found ways in which they could incorporate this in themselves. We also have Ritika's podcast episodes on our Momly app, so please do download the app. You can listen to all her episodes. They're very short, bite-sized, and beautiful ones that have been recorded. So please do download and listen to them. Thank you again, Ritika, for taking out time for us and for giving us all these different tips that we can use in our daily life.